up next, one of the funniest interviews I've ever been involved with, and it's one of the last full-length interviews that this famous rocker ever gave. And this is entertaining as hell, I gotta tell you. Today he tells the story of both a 70s rock classic and his big comeback song in the 80s, one of the biggest songs of the 80s. He was a poor kid from the other side of the tracks dating a rich girl. Her parents didn't want her seeing him. He wanted to take her somewhere special, but he didn't have the money, so he wrote her a song. It became a rock classic. And then about 8 years later, his career had hit the skids when he had a sensational idea for a song that paid tribute to the music of his youth. So he pulled a 60s legend out of retirement, had her sing a duet with him, and it became one of the biggest hits of the decade. Great interview coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. If you love the music of the rock and roll era, you're going to want to subscribe to this channel below right now to get the stories from the legends. Make sure to click the bell so you always know when our stuff's dropping. So it's time for another edition of our show, Revelations. It's actually our most popular show. This is where featured artists share rare and amazing stories behind their greatest songs and their greatest albums. Insight you truly will not find anywhere else. Today's interview is with one of my favorite people. So funny. He was raised in Brooklyn, New York as Eddie Mahoney and was on his way to following in his father and his brother's footsteps to be a policeman for the NYPD. But he actually dropped out of the trainee program to chase his dream of becoming a rock star. You guessed it. He changed his name to Eddie Money. He moved to California and he actually started dating a rich sorority girl. Her parents didn't approve of his rock and roll ways. He wanted to take her on a special trip to paradise, a place that was exotic, but he didn't have the money to do it, so he wrote a song for her about it. It became the classic 2 Tickets to Paradise. I've got 2 tickets to paradise. I've always felt that Eddie Money, he was like the Thurman Munson of rock and roll. He killed it for over 40 years on the rock stage. He left it all on the stage. He was a great performer. His swagger, his passion, they were apparent night after night after night. Like I said, he passed away a few years back and has been sorely missed. What follows is me getting the real story of Eddie Money the Cop, story of his 2 greatest hits, like I said, 2 Tickets to Paradise and Take Me Home Tonight. As I always say on this channel, I feel that songs are magical. You know, they're time machines that when played, they take us back to life's sweetest, greatest memories. To me, Eddie Money's music is very special to me. Takes me back to driving around, my small town of Blackfoot, Idaho, the potato capital of the world, with my dad. Every time I hear Eddie Money's music, I want to go back and do it all over, as he said. Eddie Money, he passed away almost 1 month to the day after my dad. They were actually about the same age. When I interviewed Eddie Money, it was really special because I got to relay the memories of his music. The effect that it had on me and my dad, how his music had created that father and son bond. And actually, Eddie wrote a really, really nice note to my dad as I had him autograph the exact copy of the cassette that my dad wore out so long ago, and he, of course, passed it on to me. I remember distinctly a few months after my dad had passed away, I think I was in the grocery store. Yeah, the grocery store with my 2 boys. And Eddie Money's, one of his songs came on, and after about 30 seconds, I was bawling my eyes out. Gosh, I miss my dad every day. I'm so grateful that I have his music to remember. The music to remember him. I'm grateful for Eddie for creating that music. So let's get into the interview. Here's Eddie Money with the story. Let's talk about 2 Tickets to Paradise, which went to number 22. Tell me the story about writing that song. I mean, of course, you and Jimmy Lyon.
I wrote 2 Tickets to Paradise by myself, and I was taking piano lessons, and I came up with, I got to thank the big guy upstairs because I came up with a great melody line. And I was learning how to play it on piano. It was one of my first songs when I was really getting back into playing piano again. So it took me about 6 months to really be very happy with 2 Tickets to Paradise, but it wasn't commercial enough for Columbia Records in those days. So Jimmy and I came up with Baby Hold On in about 3 days, which we wrote, and that became the first single. Baby, But
I read
what's
somewhere
more
that-
famous now, Two Tickets to Paradise or Baby Yolande? Two Tickets to Paradise.
Oh, yeah. You had written that because you were dating the girl that her parents wanted her to date a...
Well, I was dating a girl from college who used to go home on the weekends, and her mother thought that she was living in a sorority house, but she was actually living with me and paying my rent. And she'd go home on the weekends, and I'd have other crazy girlfriends come over when she was on the weekend. But she was a great girl. But I wanted to take her someplace, and I had no money to really take her to Hawaii or to jump on a plane and take her to New York. But I thought that if we could just take a Greyhound bus up through the Redwoods in Northern California, that was called like Two Tickets to Paradise.
I've got 2 tickets to paradise. Won't you?
It's not the state, it's the state of mind. I mean, Two Tickets to Paradise would be going to your Aunt Mickey's and having leg of lamb, you know, which your wife can't cook, you know.
Yeah.
It could be anything, you know. But it was a great song, and I'm just so proud of the fact. I've seen it on people's tombstones. I've got 2 tickets to Paradise, right, yeah.
And of course, when Homer Simpson sings your song,
I've got 2 tickets to paradise.
I mean, yeah, you know you've made it.
Right,
I mean,
yeah, that was really
it's been in video games and San Andreas and Rock Band.
We've done all kinds of video games. We did the Guitar Heroes, Shake was on Guitar Heroes, and then the other one about the car thieves.
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, Grand Theft
Yeah.
Auto, yeah.
Well, did you ever see when Michael covered it on The Office?
No.
Yeah.
I've got 2 tickets to paradise.
And then is using Sideways and King of Queens. In fact, Kevin James, huge fan.
So here's your money. Hey, money for money, huh?
I don't follow. Kevin James and I were good buddies, man. He's living down in Florida. Just had his 3rd babies. Got a beautiful wife. He's just a sweetheart of a guy.
Kind of the new generation is fan you not only through the video games and things, but the Geico commercial.
So we all set?
I've got 2 tickets to paradise.
How did that come about?
Well, my wife wanted to see me back on television. Actually, she wanted to get on TV, to tell you the truth. She's a very pretty girl. And when we did the Geico commercial, there was originally an old lady that was actually an accomplished Broadway actress. She was in Damn Yankees and Oh Happy Fellow, and she was going to be pushing the button to start the tape deck for 2 Tickets to Paradise. Well, my wife wanted to be in the video, so we had to let the old lady go. And she gave me the dirtiest look when she left, like my mother when I used to leave my car in the driveway. So my wife got all dangled, she looked all pretty. She got a nail the pedicure, and changed her outfit 3 or 4 different times to push the button. But they used the acoustic version. They didn't use the version with me singing to the tape. They used the one acoustically with the cast. And she wound up on the editing floor. So I asked my wife, how do you like my husband's Geico commercial? She goes, he sounds pitchy. She looked really good. I thought she'd make the commercial, but you can't pick TV, they pick you.
I want to go back to the very beginning. What was it for you that kicked open the door to your mind and made you want to pursue music?
I grew up listening to Chiffon, She's So Fine.
He's so fine.
And the Four Tops, and even before the Beatles. I mean, rock and roll radio was alive, WMMS in New York. So I grew up with a lot of really great rock and roll. And I was always singing it. When I was a kid, I was singing songs like, I want Lenny Welch, You Never Really Leave My Happy Home, or, if you want to be happy for the rest of your life, Gary U.S. Bonds. I mean, it was such great music on the radio. And I just always had it in my blood. I was always a singer, And then when I started high school, my dad was a cop. My mother worked at a bank. There was 5 kids. We didn't have a lot of money. So I had to be the lead singer because I didn't have any money for drums or guitars or anything like that. So I automatically knew that I was the lead singer.
Well, you were going to the police academy and you were singing in rock and roll bands at night.
Right,
Take us back to that time.
Well, I went on the police department. My brother was in Vietnam at the time. My mother was going crazy. And I was going to college for a while, but I wasn't really into the college thing. And I joined the police department. Great bunch of guys, but I wasn't really into being a cop, It was very regimental. I didn't really want to wear a uniform for 20 years of my life. I said I should have went to the Marine Corps like my brother and got it over with. It was a little too military for me. And the band had moved out to California. My rock and roll band in high school, the Grapes of Wrath. So I just, I packed my bags up, quit the police department, and moved out to California. And that band didn't last, and I went up to San Francisco and started by myself all over again.
And you were recognized for your talents by a certain Bill Graham, one of the great legends.
Bill Graham was a great guy,
Tell me that story. Take us back to
I
that.
remember Bill Graham. I mean, the first time I actually saw Led Zeppelin, they did 2 nights in San Francisco. They opened up a group called Country Joe and the Fish. And, Bill Graham used to have everybody there from Heart to Queen to everybody in the world played at Winterland. I saw Jimi Hendrix there play twice. It was an amazing play, and he turned out to be a great guy. And then I wound up getting a record deal for him because he wanted to do something for the people that worked for him in the office. So he started his own label, and I was distributed at Columbia, and I was the first artist, you know.
The quote that I remember reading that he said, Eddie Money's got it all. He's got the voice. He writes. He's a natural performer. And that has to make
It was
you feel
very
good.
nice of him to say that. But then again, he was making 20% for the people in the office. No, Bill was a great guy. You actually thought he actually walked out of Russia. He was a Russian Jew with 500 kids, and 250 of them died on the way to Paris.
Jeez.
And his sister was in Auschwitz. She still had the tattoos on her arms. You know, he had a very tough childhood. Then he moved to New York, and he turned out to be a fantastic rock and roll promoter.
Oh, yeah.
And a great manager, you know.
I want to go in depth on this record because this is one of my favorite records. I know every song. I mean, I told you how I was driving around in the truck with my dad, and I remember seeing the video on MTV, Take Me Home Tonight.
Right, yeah, that was a big
which,
video.
Great video. Yeah. One of the great music videos in MTV history.
I would have to say so. And you know what? They still play that song when everybody goes home at night. The last call, all the clubs all over America, they play Take Me Home Tonight, which is amazing. It's real, you know.
Well, for my generation,
to be the last song of the night to this day is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Well, for my generation, I mean, it was literally our introduction to Ronnie and the Ronettes.
Right,
I mean,
sure.
when I was listening to my dad say, "You hear this? Be My Little Baby." That was a song.
Right.
Be My Baby.
Did he play it for you?
And he played it for me, and that's
yeah.
how I mean, that taught me rock and
it's a better song
roll.
than Take Me Home Tonight, by the way. It really is. The night we met, I knew I needed you so.
But you know that
It's better than I
inspired.
Feel the Hunger. It's a hunger. I mean, it's a better tune. I said, we should get Ronnie Spector to do this. I looked around and I got called 1,000 people. I finally got a number from somebody. I called her up and she recognized my voice because of 2 Tickets to Paradise. And she was clinking and clanking. I said, Ronnie, what are you doing? Ronnie, she said, what's up? She said, I'm sorry, Eddie, I'm doing the dishes. I got a couple of kids now, I'm married. I said, whoa. But she got the bug back, and she came out and did that video with all the smoke and the garage door coming up.
Oh, yeah.
And she got that rock and roll bug back, and then she started going back on the road again. And she sings her ass off. She's out there singing all the time.
Well, she thanked you at your induction in the Rock
I
and Roll Hall
couldn't
of Fame.
believe that.
And Eddie Money, take me home tonight. I don't want to let you go.
Well, she's always been a sweetheart. She knew the Beatles really well, too, you know, John Lennon, and, you know, she
You
kind
were
of...
saying they snuck those guys out.
Yeah, when they were staying at the Plaza, and they couldn't get any rest or relaxation because the press and everything, she snuck them over to Brooklyn for a couple of days, and they had a wonderful time.
The video, I got to tell you this. When I would see the video as a kid, that's what made me want to grow out my hair.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
because you had the long hair in there,
Right,
and I
yeah.
wanted to learn how to play the saxophone because you have that moment in there where you're picking up the
Sure,
saxophone.
yeah, that's right.
And that, along with, like I said, along with Baker Street and Clarence Clemens and the
Yeah,
E Street
Clarence
Band, and
Clemens.
those are the three
Yeah.
moments that for our generation we're like, what, man, we got to learn how to play the saxophone.
Yeah, saxophones are a lot of fun. I just love playing the horn. I got 7 horns, my 7 saxophones. My wife was so pissed off. Why do you spend so much money on all those horns? You've only got one mouth.
Nominated for a Grammy and
Right.
should have won, man.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Well, also an interesting fact is that Scott Litt mixed the song.
Right.
And he did produced all those REM albums, Automatic for the People,
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Out of Time.
He
and
did a great
everything
job
like
on it, too, yeah. I never met the guy, and I thought he overcharged me, but he did a good job on the track, you know.
Well, also the covers. I mean, it's been covered by Hinder and Glee. Was that pretty cool?
Yeah, it was really cool. But, I mean, when Hinder covered it, was really amazing. They're big. They're from Oklahoma City, I think. And they were big Eddie Money fans. And they came out, and I got in one of their videos. And they were really nice kids.
Well, and then, of course, the movie came out that they named
Take
the
Me Home
movie.
Tonight. And that one actor I thought was a genius, the fat kid.
And Anna Faris and Chris Pratt, that's where they met, man. Did
Right.
you know that? That's where
No.
they met, and they got married, and they got kids. Chris Pratt's the guy from Guardians of the Galaxy and Jurassic World. He's like one of the biggest box office stars.
Oh, come on, yeah.
But they met during that movie. It was named after your song, and,
No
they're
kidding.
married. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Isn't
How
that
about
great?
that? No.
I Want to Go Back, another
Right, back, yeah.
phenomenal song. It's funny because a lot of people don't realize that Billy Satellite was the first one to cut the song. And then Gregor Oley
Greg Rowley cut
from
it
A
also,
Freaking
yeah.
Journey
Yeah,
did
right.
it. But the difference is, you go back and listen to those songs, your version's like 10 times better than those. And the reason is because of vocal, man. You attack that song,
Yeah, I
man,
love
and
it.
it really...
Well, Monty Byron's a good buddy of mine from Bakersfield. We're still very good friends, and I've always loved the song.
On the saxophone part is
Oh, the
also the
saxophone's
huge difference.
fantastic. It was
Another
just
great video. That,
I mean, hanging out on Friday night, the first slow dance, hoping that I get it right. That's how I grew up.
Hoping that I get it right.
You know, when I grew up, the closest you ever got to a chick was at a high school dance, without the father looking over your shoulder, I grew up in the 60s.
Yeah.
Nobody got laid.
That a lonely heart was never shown.
and you think about the memories that you had. Like I think about when my dad
Sure,
and I driving
yeah.
around the
It's
truck,
just
and I want to go back to those
I want to
times.
go back and do it all over again, but you can't
You know?
go back, I know.
Another Kevin James, man, Grown Ups too.
He loves that tune. He loves I'll Get By. He knows every lyric to I'll Get By.
Such a great song.
Somehow I'll get by.
Like having somebody like Kevin James would be a big Eddie Money fan. Or Chubby Checkers is a big Eddie Money fan. Wow, these are people I really love. Or Neil Young calling me by my first name. Things like that. Or Ringo Starr going to meetings with Ringo Starr. What a great guy. There's certain people that you meet that you really, really great people. Well, Loverboy, Mike Reno, great guy,
Well, see, and what I love is you've still got that passion, man. After 40 years, you still almost
Well, I
have
got
to
5
pinch
kids. I'll
yourself.
do anything to get out of the house.
Man, well, I got to tell you, man, it has been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Adam. I hope people don't fall asleep to this interview because I wasn't that exciting, but it was great talking to you, Adam.
No, it was.
I appreciate all your Oh, you got a wedding ring on, huh?
Yeah.
Smallest handcuff in the world. Smallest handcuff in the world.
No, I got it. I love my wife as much as you love yours.
Yeah,
man.
you gotta love your wife.
Great lady. You know, the last thing Eddie Money said to me as I left the interview, he said, tell your old man thank you for introducing you to my music, and which I did. But looking back at that moment, it had come full circle. My dad, Eddie's music, the summer that sparked me wanting to know every story of every song from driving around in the truck with him and having him spit out trivia to me. It's just music connects it all. Thank you so much, Eddie. Leave us a comment about this Eddie Money song, both these songs, 2 Tickets to Paradise and Take Me Home Tonight, just classics. Let us know your memories of Eddie Money's music. Such a great guy. If you like our content, we do invite you to subscribe below so that you never miss out. We'd love to have you as part of our community. And until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.